Another 3 months have gone by, and we're here again at the tail end of another quarter, meaning we're going to get another patch for Star Citizen. Hey guys, Morphologist here, and in this video we're going to be talking about that patch and what it has in store. And frankly, we'll also be talking about what it doesn't have, because the recent changes to the roadmap which have affected 3.11 have sent some waves through the community, and reactions have not all been positive. So kick back and crack open a can of pips while I take you through this next patch, as well as some of the drama the community's been facing. And if you like the video by the end and think I did a good job and deserve it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You can also find me over on my Twitch channel live every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. We've almost hit about 15,000 followers, so thank you guys so much for your amazing support through all these years. So to start off, we'll begin with the meat and potatoes of the matter, the actual 3.11 patch and what we can expect to see. I'll break down the features for you and what they will mean for future patches, because some of them have pretty big implications. Then I'm going to take you guys through the drama and what that means and where that's coming from. And then hopefully we'll end on a bit of a high note with some educated speculation on what the surprise feature of 3.11 might be, because there usually always is a surprise feature. So starting off with locations, we're going to be getting a visual upgrade all around. Starting off here with some of these smoke effects. Now they're going to be more realistically lit, whereas before sometimes they could appear brighter than the environment. Landing locations are also getting a lighting rework for the nighttime cycle, such as here in Lorville, where the spotlight will now move around looking for criminal activity. What this really is, though, is an update to the lighting tech that's in Star Citizen. Now things are going to be lit more dynamically, with the samples being taken much more frequently, creating a much more realistically lit environment. This is an upgrade all around to their tech, which will make the future of Star Citizen look even better. CIG have also updated their planet painting tech, giving them a bit more of a detailed and varied environment in each biome, and so they've gone through each of the planets of Stanton and done a bit of an update, making them look just a little bit better than they did before. This also brings in their new organics shader that they've been working on, which will make things feel a lot more planted in the environment than they were before. Finally, for Planetech, they're also updating the actual textures themselves, which apparently will make the ground look even more pretty when you're down there on the surface of a moon or planet. Pretty darn cool. Well, on the surface, this may seem to be a bit shallow. It is actually a very important feature and indicates something even better about the future of Star Citizen. This means that they are covering their bases for tech debt for moving on to more star systems. We can confirm this by the fact that the monthly reports have shown that they've gotten a lot done for the next star system, Pyro, with the main thing holding them back being the fact that iCache and server meshing are not yet ready. But the very fact that they're working on Pyro means that they decided to work on that concurrently with the plan that by the time that they got Pyro done, that server meshing would be ready, which puts server meshing and iCache somewhere in the very near future, by the end of this year or early next year in 2021. Also on the locations are the new cargo decks, which are going to bring some new features to Star Citizen in the future, not in 3.11. There has been a bit of confusion going around because of the monthly report that was put out just a bit ago. We got a peek at the new volatile cargo type, which will be something that'll be either time sensitive or movement sensitive, that will give you a lot of money if you complete it, but will have high risk. This was mentioned as something that they had kicked off, which means it definitely will not be ready for 3.11. Additionally, there was some talk about how this will be a place for you to store cargo if you're a cargo hauler. This too is not actually on the roadmap. This is something that is likely going to be in a future patch. I'm sorry to be a hype killer here, guys, but what we're getting here is just a location and that's it. A place to visit and be a tourist for now. In the future, it'll have gameplay, but for now, it's just something to look at. On the gameplay side of things, one of the coolest things we're getting is force reactions. When you're shot or pushed, or even if your ship is rammed or taking high G maneuvers, you now may end up losing your balance and take damage. This now gives more purpose to dropships, which now have a reason for people to use those jump seats. But I think it also gives you the opportunity to have some really cool gameplay, like say for example, if you've been boarded, you can start doing maneuvers to throw them off balance while you set up a defense. In terms of immersion, I also think this is going to to be really great. It'll give much more weight to the world, much more consequence to ramming people or getting shot, and pilots will now have to be a bit more delicate if they've got passengers on board. I think force reactions are a really good example for how the holistic approach to development for CIG can sometimes really pay off. And if you can bear with me for just a few more minutes on this subject, I can explain to you exactly what I mean by this. The conventional approach to doing things like flinching when you're being shot is to have two separate animations, one for first person that the user experiences and one for third person that you see happen on other people. This presents issues where things might not actually line up. Say for when you're leaning around a corner, it may seem like you're not visible, but for other people, they can actually still see you. CIG wanted to take a much more detailed approach. Instead of having two different systems, they wanted what you're seeing in first person to be what everybody else sees in third person. So your gun model, your player model, your elbow position, everything is exactly the same because you're actually seeing it from your own player's eyes. If you're curious as to why this isn't conventionally done by developers, it's because it presents some really interesting challenges. For example, when they put the camera in the player's eyes for the first time, they discovered that the head bob was so extreme that it was completely unusable. And that's because in reality, our brains are actually stabilizing the images that are coming through our eyes. And so CIG had to write an algorithm to simulate that effect to create a smooth experience user end. But this approach also meant that if a player was going to flinch, that they actually had to have a force enacted upon them. A real force that would affect the player's entire body. So this holistic, systematic approach in the end actually enabled them to not just add flinching in when they added in force reactions, but also to add in force reactions that a ship translates to its occupant, or a shotgun translates to the receiver. And this approach really is pretty much the same for everything in the game. It's why everything is taking so long, but also why it's going to pay off quite suddenly once they get the systems in place. Alright, so back to the actual patch notes. Sorry for the delay there. We're also going to be getting player and external inventory updates, which is really not much different from what we have right now. If you hold the radial menu, you'll see that you have food and water and rock stored in your inventory. That's now going to be a slightly updated interface that's going to break it down per armor item. Apparently, you're also going to be able to access other inventories in the game, such as ship storages. I don't think that means you'll be able to access other player inventories, like say from dead bodies, but it definitely opens the door to that in the future. And finally, in the gameplay section, we're getting improved throw, which is important, I guess, but really not that exciting of a feature, so I'm not going to discuss it too much more in detail. I think I've explained how the systems approach pays off in the end, and this is just another one of those systems that is still in process. On the ship side of things, we're getting the new 100i series starter ships from Origin, which are pretty good looking, and the hotly anticipated first Crusader ship in Star Citizen, the Mercury Star Runner, which is Star Citizen's own YT-1300, or Millennium Falcon for those of you who know it by that name. It's advertised as a multi-role data running ship, but since data running currently isn't in the game, and that's not even on the roadmap, I'd look at it as more of a ship that fills the gap between the entry-level multi-crew ships such as the Cutlass and the Freelancer, and the bigger ships like the Carrack. Ultimately though, it is just a ship, and I'm not really convinced it's going to add too much to the gameplay experience for right now. On the FPS combat side of things, we're getting two new guns, a shotgun, which is not much to write home about, and a grenade launcher, which is going to be quite a bit of a game changer in CQB. I am a little bit worried about how much this is going to be used, because obviously it's going to be able to kill a lot of people really, really fast, so it may just end up being the only thing people use when they go up against big teams of people. I think holding the interior of a hammerhead is going to be a lot more challenging if the invading party or defending party has one of these things or several of these things, so we'll have to see about that. Finally, we're getting ground cover buoyancy, which really is nothing to really write home about. I guess it's important tech for stuff to float. Eventually, I'm guessing that things like the 890 jump will float, but certainly that's not going to be happening in 3.11. This is just going to be maybe for some plants or something on the water, nothing big. And that's it. But that leads us to the drama. So let me recap for you real quick what's in 3.11. We've got upgrades to the way planets look, a new location called Cargo Decks with no gameplay, AI ship hazard awareness, force reactions, player and external inventory, improved throw, 2 new ships, 2 new guns, and buoyancy. I basically told you it was in the patch in 15 seconds, and that's what's got people upset. The patch, although it has some good stuff in it, is very slim. And while they have explained why they've pushed things back like missile operator mode and server to client network actor rework, which was going to help fix desync, those explanations were pretty shallow and didn't go into much detail about why so many things have been pushed back, leaving us to speculate as to the reason why. Many of us saying that it's probably because they're focused so much on Squadron 42, but like I said, they've not said that that's the case, which has got people even more upset. But it's not even just the communication that people are upset about. People are also upset about the specific features being removed. You see, the server updates are really important. Ever since Invictus, we have had some really big problems with the back-end servers. They're using what's called a Pcache system, which, if you don't know, is going off of, I guess, a single server that is connected to all the rest of the servers, which means if that server goes down or if it's overloaded, which it often is, the query time can sometimes be several minutes. So changing a ship's inventory, loadout, buying things, selling things, going to, say, a new location on the map or going to a mission can sometimes take a really long time to load in if it loads in at all. The CIG's credit, they have said that they understand that this is a problem and want to work to fix it, but nothing is on the roadmap for 3.11, so we really don't know if any of these fixes are going to take effect in the next patch, leaving us to speculate that 3.11 is going to be much more of the same, a very difficult to play experience, driving many to take a break from Star Citizen at this time. In my view, the sad truth of the matter is that they've got a lot of things they need to take care of that aren't very exciting, namely iCache and server meshing. They're going to do a lot for the game, but the run-up to that is going to be quite underwhelming, and so for the rest of this year, at least until Q1 2021, I suspect the patches are going to be very slim and underwhelming. But that doesn't mean the patches are going to just be glorified hotfixes. We will get some cool features, including ones that haven't yet been announced yet. And this isn't speculation, this is guaranteed. The only thing that's up in the air is exactly what those features will be. For 3.11, we know from a developer post that we're going to be getting updates to the missiles. They're going to be a bit more balanced so that countermeasures work a lot better, and that's a big problem right now for PvP. We also know that we're going to be getting an update to the UI front-end system, not just for inventory, but possibly also for the main menu, a much welcomed addition as the current UI is a bit dated and clunky. This will pave the way for future features like actual org stuff in-game, which is something that we've been waiting for a really long time for those of us who do a lot of org events in Star Citizen. But I think the surprise feature of 3.11 might be Nebula. Now, I'm not 100% on this because I don't know how much of a load this will be on the already overtaxed servers, but if it's mostly visual, it could be a good bet that we could see this in the next patch, since they've been teasing this for a really long time. They also teased some ship skins, which we could also see in 3.11 as a surprise. We also know that the Gen 12 stuff is coming along, so that could come in a next patch at any time, and iCache could also start making its way into the game in some form, so better performance might be in store for us. This is much more far-fetched than a Nebula, but it's possible. Point is here, guys, keep your chin up. There isn't a lot on the roadmap right now, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to get some cool features. Yeah, it's going to be somewhat lackluster for the rest of this year, and we probably won't get a really big content patch until Q1 next year. But there are other games out there for us to try in the meantime, and taking a break isn't always a bad thing. It gives you a fresh perspective on the game, and it certainly helped me realize just how amazing this game can be. There are games out there that allow you to fly a ship, to get out of it, to walk around on a planet's surface, but nobody does it as well, as seamlessly, and as beautifully as Star Citizen, at least in my opinion. Now at this point in the comments section, I'm sure many of you are typing out that I am a CIG shill for the positivity I'm showing here. But honestly guys, I'm doing this as much for myself as I'm doing it for you. I have been feeling really down and negative about the project recently, and I needed to look at the bright side, and this video gave me an opportunity to do so. So I hope this has helped you guys see the brighter side of things. It certainly has helped me. And if it has, let me know down in the comments section below. Or maybe just let me know what you think the surprise feature might be. I think a little bit of positivity can go a long way, especially in these dark times. I've been Morphologist, guys. You stay safe. I'll see you next time.